Hello everyone and welcome back to Zeedup Technologies. As you can see in my screen, today we are going to be starting with a little bit of AWS SysOps course, and since this is a system operations kind of a role, what we are going to be doing is let's today's session is just about a quick introduction of it. So let's understand what is system operator's job, and how does AWS likes to evaluate a SysOps certification. What is the exact difference between a SysOps and a DevOps? So if you have followed the recent trends in the IT world, you must have heard about DevOps and SysOps. With all the attention they are getting these days, it'd be hard not to, right? Being familiar with these two terminologies is not enough if you are a techie or a programmer in this ever evolving technological world. You are going to need to know a whole lot more, especially when you are interested in cloud computing. So in this session, we'll just get to a basic introduction of system ops along with a little bit of nitty-gritties. So System of and DevOps are two very important concepts of cloud computing, right? Let's first focus on system ops a little bit before we actually jump into any of the DevOps related, since it might cause a little bit of confusion, to put it the best. So it will be best if we could start with the SysOps first, and a little bit of introduction about it. Once we are aware of SysOps, it will become much better to actually go ahead and to be able to evaluate SysOps over the DevOps, and how is SysOps exactly different than DevOps. So if we have to get into SysOps, let's quickly just run through SysOps. It's a delivery style in IT, which is set of thorough guidelines for IT service management that concentrates on aligning business goals with IT services. IT service management enables the firm or an organization to form a baseline from where it can design, execute, and measure. It is used to show compliance and estimate improvement. In the past, the term SysOps for system operator was used to denote any professional who was responsible for any computer system. But with this advancement of cloud computing, it has become a terminology for denoting professionals who are responsible for multi-user systems. They are responsible for various tasks. Some of them are similar to DevOps and some are different. For example, DevOps typically follows the continuously delivery model. In this model, teams develop, write, test, and release software in short time cycles. DevOps makes use of automation at every step so that the time cycles can be rapid and reliable. Now, if given an opportunity to learn about SysOps more and more, in detail, you will be coming across questions like, what does a system operator do? What are the roles and responsibilities of a system operator? Okay. So let's start with a little bit of cloud computing. I'm sure we are already aware of this, since we have done a lot of courses about this. So in just a couple of lines, cloud computing can be described as a delivery of on-demand services over the internet that may arise from a small-scale industrial applications to a large-scale data center needs. At present, lots of platforms emphasize delivering the best infrastructure and platforms for cloud-based services. And now let's get into how is System Ops Administrator, or who is System Ops Administrator. So a system operator is a person who works on a computer server and runs it. The responsibilities of a system operator are to run and operate the server. An administrator, on the other hand, manages user access and security. The system operator manages routine operations. The system operator and administrator are the same people in smaller companies. So what are the roles and responsibilities of AWS system operator, right? The constant ongoing trends in the technology have made in about a lot of changes that entirely changed the age-old working skills and reinvented new career opportunities within the current job roles. The cloud rebellion has required a lot of changes in the job role for the traditional administrator. IT has made this job more and more challenging and also needs extensive use of automation tools as the infrastructure when they are administrating that can be programmable. AWS cloud computing will allow electric industry-based skills which are much more required to endure in the career profession of an AWS administrator. The roles and responsibilities of system ops are challenging, keeping in mind the software and the on-demand model that AWS cloud provides. Having said that, roles and responsibilities might vary from one company to another. Provisioning servers, installing software, and wiring networking appliances are nowadays straightforward tasks and can be done within seconds. Companies now require system administrators to learn about automation as the systems they administer are programmable. System ops administrators now want to manage virtual cloud resources. So the system ops administrators' fabulous job has grown a lot with technological advancement. This has not only obliged you to increase your technical skills, but also have created new opportunities within the current job role. The SysOps administrator today needs to be aware of automation technologies as the infrastructure they administer are programmable. The SysOps administrator's primary responsibilities are to configure AWS cloud management and to configure and to monitor carefully and manage its services. Uh, AWS administrators have two basic primary responsibilities. That is to configure the AWS cloud management services and to monitor and manage their services carefully. Both these roles are having an equal priority and have to be performed with higher perfection. So the responsibilities include one, to learn matrix and carefully monitor the health or utilization of AWS resources on a full scale by making use of highly complex AWS CloudWatch. Maintaining a backup of the resources is a different important responsibility. So the administrator has to perform AWS on-premise resources, backup from time to time by making extensive use of AWS services. To reduce the time required for the production, he should be capable of deploying automation infrastructure by using the AWS cloud formation technique. It is his responsibility to improve the resources and work on resource tagging to designate costs for thoroughly planning of budgeting, governance, and reporting. Commercial cloud service is an integral part of AWS. Creating compelling presentations that support a commercial cloud service overviews is the duty of AWS administrator himself. For creating and managing VPC, URL proxies, C2S access points as well as hosts. To communicate with different network team to complete the network connections for the client's VPCs, to efficiently monitor billing and to develop cost optimization strategies. Managing full AWS lifecycle provisioning, automation, and security. Setting up and administering multi-tier computer system circumstances, configure and fine-tune cloud infrastructure systems for performing software updates, kernel patching, patches, etc. Monitor availability and performance extent, monitor effectively charging and cost optimization strategies, manage disaster recovery and create backups, maintain data integrity and access control while you use AWS platform. So The AWS SysOps administrators are responsible for managing using operating systems on AWS platform as well. So they are also responsible for maintaining and managing infrastructure, the entire AWS infrastructure of the company, as well as when it comes to managing the cost, as well as when they have to optimize these costs, that okay, the company cannot be taking this is becoming um, extremely high. It's going on the higher end when it comes to uh, management of the operating system or whatever the infrastructure cost is. So all these things are literally just taken care by you know um, by system administrators. Now I am now going to talk about some concepts that you should know before going to a sysops administrator. One is the ELB matrix, which is search queue length versus spillover. A search queue length is a count of the number of requests that are pending submission to a registered intent. A spillover count is a count of the total number of requests that are rejected due to queue being full. Next concept is burstable performance instance. So burstable performance instances, which are T2 and T3 instances, are designed to provide a baseline level of CPU performance with the ability to burst to a higher level when required by your workload. It can be enabled and disabled at any time for a running or stopped instance. Next is cloud formation, which is a delete policy. So preserve, or in some cases backup, a resource when its stack is deleted. If a resource has no deletion policy attribute, AWS CloudFormation deletes the source resource by default. To keep a resource when its stack is deleted, specify retain for that resource to prevent deletion. Specify snapshot to create a snapshot before deleting the resource if the snapshot capability is supported, for example, RDS, EC2 volume, etc. To keep a resource when its stack is deleted, specify retain for that resource. You can use retain for any resource. For example, you can retain a nested stack, AWS S3 backup, EC2 instance, or so that you can continue to use or modify these resources after you delete their stacks. Next is bucket policies. You have to be aware of all the bucket policies. I'll just give you a quick gist. So you can attach S3 bucket policies at the bucket level. You cannot attach a bucket policy to S3 object, but the permissions specified in the bucket policy applies to all the objects in that bucket. Something called as ACL. So as a general rule, AWS recommends using S3 bucket policies or IAM policies for access control. S3 ACLs is a legacy access control mechanism that predates IAM. However, if you are already using S3 ACLs, you can find sufficient. There is no need to change. Then comes how to use IAM policies versus S3 policies. So use IAM policies if you need to control access to AWS service other than S3. IAM policies will be easier to manage since you can centrally manage all of your permissions in IAM instead of spreading them between IAM and S3. You have numerous S3 buckets, each with different permissions requirements. IAM policies will be easier to manage since you don't have to define a large number of S3 policies. You can instead rely on fewer, more detailed IAM policies. You prefer to keep access control policies in IAM environment. Use S3 policies if you want a simple way to grant cross-account access to your S3 environment without using IAM rules. Your IAM policies bump up against the size limit. S3 policies support bucket policies of up to 20 KB. You prefer to keep access control policies in S3 environment. Then there are so on and so forth. These are the very high level topics that need to be covered when it comes to SysOps Administrator course, because it is definitely very, very important to understand S3 and the bucket policies at the same time. Now, if you are already aware of these things, and if you are already aware of few of the topics in this, you might know that when it comes to AWS Certified SysOps, that is this entire course, it will consist of deploying, managing and operating scalable, highly available and fault-tolerant systems on AWS, migrating an existing on-premise application to AWS, implementing and controlling the flow of data to and from AWS, selecting the appropriate AWS service based on compute data and security requirements, identifying the appropriate use of AWS operational best practice, estimating AWS usage cost, and identifying operational cost control mechanism. Before attempting the AWS certification, you should have certain skills and experience. That is 1 year of hands-on experience with AWS platform, professional experience managing operating production systems on AWS, a firm grasp of AWS 7 principles for architecting for the cloud, hands-on experience with the AWS CLI and SDK, understanding of network technologies as they relate to AWS, good grasp of fundamental security concepts with the hands-on experience implementing security controls and compliance requirement. Of course, you will require general IT knowledge, which is 1 or 2 years of experience as a system administrator in a system operations role, understanding of virtualization technology, experience monitoring and auditing systems, knowledge of networking concepts such as DNS, TCP, IP, and firewalls, ability to collaborate with developers and the business team across your organization. So these are a few steps that are like a requirement kind of a thing when it comes to AWS, specifically when it comes to AWS SysOps, because you are more on the back end and you are more on figuring this out. Last topic, let's cover quickly what is the difference between DevOps and SysOps. So if you know, DevOps, as the name suggests itself, is a concept that helps manage the tasks related to development and operations team together. So about 16 years ago, system administrator used tools like concurrent version system, that is called CVS, and source code control system, which was called SCCS. Now, and the vendor package management tools to accomplish what DevOps professionals do nowadays. So, DevOps professionals nowadays use Puppet, Chef, and similar open source cross-platform tools for system configuration and automation. System admins automate the process of infrastructure building, whereas continuous deployment is the goal of developers through build tools automation. So combining these tasks of system admin and developer teams is called system DevOps, right? This we are already aware of. Now, although there are many areas where SysOps and DevOps provide similar functionalities, there are some areas where these two differ from each other significantly. The difference between SysOps and DevOps in terms of some specific areas in the way in which these two work are, very nitty-gritty, very in detailed. For example, SysOps way of managing infrastructure is centralized around infrastructure, which is taken care on a more individual level. The DevOps way of managing infrastructure is also centralized around infrastructure, but it is taken care by using the latest automation tools, right? So DevOps and SysOps are two large areas of cloud computing. These two approaches are used to manage the infrastructure. If a choice has to be made between the two, then that totally depends on your requirements. There are at least 7 things to consider before you choose between DevOps and SysOps. to be able to build an application. One is estimating load predictability, determining whether the traffic shoots up or fails down, having a clear idea on the required execution speed, realizing how rapidly the application should adapt to foresee unforeseen changes, recognizing how fast the scaling should be when the traffic shoots up, whether your business is global or not, understanding how often you want to perform releases on your application. So therefore, it is clear that there is no exact answer for the question related to choosing between DevOps and SysOps. It varies from organization to organization depending on your mentioned factors. Moreover, when it comes to individual workload and marketing strategy, the answer to such a question may obviously still vary. That is given, that is definitely there. So conclusion, okay, let's quickly conclude this. In managed operations, SysOps and DevOps are two approaches which were incepted as a result of immense development in the field of technology in the cloud and internet era. Businesses, especially those came up within the last 10 years, have relied on IT as their main source of success. There have been so many advancements in technologies which have resulted in huge competition among the online firms, and it is obvious that successful firm is one which provides new and improved services to their clients in each firm. Hence, SysOps and DevOps professionals should work in tandem so that they can best address the needs of their client. So that's it. I think I have covered most of the topics when it comes to SysOps, when it comes to DevOps, when it comes to the difference between the two. As you can see, to prepare for this exam, the total cost is $150. There are 65 questions, either multiple choice or single choice. Testing center or online procured exam, there are both these availabilities already scheduled. So feel free to attempt this examination based on the course, and wish you all the luck with the future courses that we are going to be covering with SysOps. All the lessons are covered in the upcoming session. So hope you enjoyed today's session. Thank you.